Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nutritional Revolution podcast. Today, we have for you guys Cindy Shepard, and she is a Kenyan-born runner from Oregon. She's been running in some capacity since she was little through sports, including basketball, soccer, and track. Cindy was a casual road runner during college and post-graduation while living abroad, but she fell in love with trail running after moving back home to Portland in 2022. She ran her first ultramarathon in 2023 and has since completed 8 ultramarathons, 2 road marathons, and several sub-ultra trail races. She is dedicated to increasing outdoor access and participation among people with marginalized identities. This is a great episode. Cindy has some great takeaways for nutrition and fueling to reduce palate fatigue. I found it fascinating. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nutritional Revolution podcast. We have for you guys Cindy Shepard. Thank you for joining us.
So excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to learn about all your running journey and hydration and fueling and all the fun things. But before we do that, we're going to jump straight into your 2 truths and a lie. So I'm going to let you break those down for me.
Okay. Let's see. So I ran my first ultra before my first marathon.
Okay. Wow.
I got second in my first ultra.
Okay.
And I have 2 dogs.
So listeners, you guess, because Cindy and I were talking before the episode, and I think I already know which one is the lie. So our listeners can guess. And then at the end of this episode, we'll reveal which one is a lie and we'll learn more about the 2 truths. So we'll save that for the end of the episode. So why don't you take us back, Cindy, a ways? What brought you to, and maybe this might reveal some of those answers for the 2 truths and a lie too, when you tell us about your journey, but what got you into running and ultra running?
So I've always been like a runner in some capacity. My stepmom, when I was little, put me into a neighborhood track meet at I think it was 6 years old. Yeah. Where they give out the little ribbons and stuff. So I started doing that and I really loved it. And I remember it was every Tuesday and Thursday after work. And it was just a kids community track meet, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so I started that way. And then I was playing sports in college. And I remember I loved gym class and all that stuff. And we had to run the mile when we were in grade school at one point. And I was second overall. And there was one boy who beat me, and it was just, I loved running, and I really liked running fast. Mm-hmm. That was really just what I enjoyed. I ended up playing basketball and soccer and running track a bit in high school.
Wow.
I did end up dropping out of track because I don't know, I think there was just a lot going on in my life and I didn't really have the motivation for it. And I think even though I liked running, I wasn't a super structured runner, mm-hmm. And sometimes running around a track, I'm oh, this is kind of boring. There's no destination.
Yeah.
But I loved basketball practice, soccer practices, game. I just loved the continuous movement, sprinting, stopping, it was one of my favorite things. It's every sport I enjoyed. It was pretty much that part of it that I liked the most. And so when I went to college, I didn't go to college for any sport. I just was a casual road runner. I just did it for myself a couple times a week. And then over the years, I did a couple half marathons here and there, not super structured training. I would just make sure to run enough to not, die during the race. And I was living abroad and doing that for a bit. I was abroad for 5 years. And when I finally came back to Portland, I joined running groups. Usually the way I meet new people when I'm in a new place is that I just join a bunch of running groups or a sport group, something like that. Mm-hmm. And so when I came back, I was okay, well, I'll just join all these running groups because we have so many, mm-hmm. and a lot of them were trail. And so I ended up coming to a few group runs. One of the first ones was Weiss Wolfpack, which that was my coach. That was his group. And it's an all levels, all paces community run. Nice. And I just became obsessed with it. So I moved back to Portland in 2022, and then I joined in May. I think I started running in the spring, late mm-hmm. spring. And then it just went from there. I met all these trail runners, started seeing people's adventures, and I was I really want to do that. That sounds amazing. Mm-hmm. Then a year later, 2023, almost exactly a year later, I did my first TK.
Wow.
And then after that, it just went from there. Like a month later, did a 50 miler, which I don't recommend. It was exponentially harder. Like,
yeah. Wow.
But, and then it just went. So
amazing. Did you have a coach programming for you in preparation for that first 50K, or were you just doing the community runs and using those as your training?
Yeah, I'd say the reason I ever became a super serious road runner, because I think I got a little bored on the roads. Mm-hmm. I'm not the most structured person. I'd say a lot of my motivation is not intrinsic. So I was seeing it more as a way to socialize and do something fun and healthy that I enjoy. So I was using all the community runs as my training, which I still kind of do during the week. There are 4 group runs during the week that I might go to. And they just help keep me consistent when the days I'm not feeling super motivated. And that was what I did. So there was no structured training or anything. That was my coach's group. But at that point, he wasn't coaching me. And I told him I wanted to do this. And he encouraged me. He's like, oh, I think you'll be fine. He's like, you can finish that.
That's great.
I was like, okay.
Amazing. So that first 50K to now, how has your fueling evolved?
It is like I stopped eating fruit snacks. Like that was the only thing I could eat in the beginning was like those Welch fruit snacks because I used to not be able to like eat anything and run. In fact, I used to do all my runs prior to like start training for ultras on an empty stomach or like a banana an hour and a half before because I couldn't digest anything.
Wow.
And then I would have to plan out my meals. Like, okay, if I don't want to get super tired, I have to eat like 3 hours before, but not too much.
Yeah.
So I was basically like my first ultras, I was eating fruit snacks and stuff like that. Like I couldn't eat very much. And maybe like the just things that were super easy to digest. And sometimes I would even have random things like granola bars or whatever. And I just take a bite of it and that's it. You know what I mean? And then so one of them, I remember I had water in one of my flasks, and then the other one I had beet juice.
Oh, wow.
It ended up working really well, but it was gross.
Yeah.
It just got warm, and I'm like running with warm beet juice, but then like as it would go down, I would just keep adding water to it. So it's like watered down beet juice, you know, until the end of the race, it's just water in both of them.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I was doing at all. I just heard beet juice was good for you, and it has like vasodilation or something. I'm like, okay, cool. Sounds good. We'll just start with that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is wild. And that's one of the things of beet juice. I mean, we've had, maybe you've come across it too, is like sometimes when people get GI issues, if they've done beet juice and then if they start vomiting, like a lot of people start panicking because it's like,
it's red
blood. Yeah. But to be drinking it like actually while you're out there on course, that's next level. But it went down well. No GI issues or anything like that?
No, and I think my reasoning has a lot of like potassium and things like that that you need, like the electrolytes. And so I was like, okay, I just need both.
Yeah.
So I'll have one that's beet juice and one that's water. And it went really well. So I didn't have any GI issues with that.
That's great. Wow. And there's like a good amount of carbs in beet juice too. So
I might have been onto something. I was,
Yeah. It might be the next like sports nutrition product that like use during. Okay. So fast forward to now, and what does nutrition look like or fueling for an ultra now for you?
So I actually do use like endurance products now because I do think they offer you a bit more. They're formulated, right?
Yeah.
Specifically for that. I'm much better at fueling. I realize now I was probably severely under fueling for that race. And I use a variety of things. I will use chews. And usually in one flask, I do still have like I'll have like a electrolyte carb drink just to get like a steady flow of carbs, like underlying,
Yeah.
So I do use endurance products now. I still do try to keep my favorite things, like a little snack here and there that's just different for the palate fatigue. If nothing else tastes good, I always have something like a backup, usually a salty backup.
Smart.
But yeah.
What is your salty backup? What does that look like? Like something different?
I really like Cheetos.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Like hot Cheetos.
Oh, hot Cheetos even.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Good
I try to bring like chips or something, but for a lot of my adventure runs, I've realized like flaming hot Cheetos in like the middle of or like 20 miles in when you're just sick of the sugar is really, really good. It's like a nice, and they melt in your mouth. It's not like there's any like effort because it's pretty much like barely real food, so.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes me think too, do you ever get cramps during racing?
So actually, I think I'm pretty lucky. I don't cramp up that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like rarely.
Yeah. I mean, the flaming hot Cheetos, like the spice, so that's capsaicin, if there's capsaicin in it, like the primary heat source, right, in like a pepper. That is what is one of the things that can stop cramping by innervating the nerve in the back of the throat. Same thing as like the pickle juice concept, the citric acid. So I wonder if like the hot Cheetos, you're onto something there is like a cramp preventer too. But yeah, I love
I'm gonna
talking
keep,
to
yeah.
athletes.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I learned so much stuff. So then, okay, so we talked a little bit about the fueling. What are some of the gels or chews that you like, or drink mix that you feel like works well for you?
So I do like goo. I think their flavors go down really easily. Sometimes it depends. Like I might have to switch off. I've used Scratch before. I think their drink mix is great. I think Tailwind is a little bit on the salty side, and that's just like a palate preference. I think you just have to find the one that your body works with. Yeah. But my absolute favorite one is the Summit Tea. It's the only one I found that like no matter what, I don't get sick of it.
Huh.
Like usually, as long as there's nothing actually going on with me, the Summit Tea drink mix is really good. Only issue is it has caffeine in it, and so they don't always recommend starting with caffeine. Like and right at the like you can have your coffee and stuff at the beginning of a race and a caffeinated gel, but having it the whole time I feel like kind of lessens the impact when I really need it.
Right.
So yeah, and the grape one is the other Tailwind like drink mix, like Roctane that I really like because I feel like it's just easy for the palate.
Yeah, that's great. So going from the 2023 where you felt like you couldn't take in enough nutrition, really had to eat your like last meal well enough before, how did you train yourself to tolerate more nutrition during a race?
So I just had to start slowly. I try to eat really light meals before, like hour before, something like oatmeal or something like that. I also just started experimenting. The chews were really good when I feel like they're really similar to fruit snacks. So I actually started with that and I started going to chews because those digest really easily and I could eat those during. And then I just sort of upgrade, like if I had a waffle, I would take a bite of it, right? So I wasn't trying to stuff myself, but just sort of figure out how to like slowly digest. But yeah, it took a while to be able to even eat before a race, like eat a substantial meal. Where now I had a nutritionist for Western states who was like, yeah, try to get like at least 500 calories if you can. And I'm like, that's kind of hard, but I can do that. Now I try to start my races full. Yeah. It's uncomfortable in the beginning, but the difference down the line is huge, I think.
Yeah, that's great. Do you try and target a certain amount of grams of carbs per hour, or is it more based off of how you feel when you're out there?
I always have a target, but it definitely ends up being based on how I feel. So the standard 60 grams of carbs up to like 80 grams, I feel like I've done if I'm going really hard or something. But I definitely don't try to force myself if I start feeling some way. Like there are times when you get nauseous and you're just like, oh, this is not working. And then I just back off. Like might not take anything for a bit to let my stomach like settle and then slowly try something else or slowly ease back into taking calories. I try not to force it down. My biggest fear is always puking during a race because I'm always afraid that once I start, it won't stop. So I tend to take a more conservative approach to carbs and fueling in general if I'm feeling sick.
What does your race morning breakfast look like?
So I usually like a little bit of oatmeal and actually cold oatmeal with oat milk, and then maybe bananas, maybe not, or berries or something on top, and then an egg or two.
Nice. How do you adjust that when you're traveling to a race? Does it change?
It does not really change because it's usually they're the most readily available things you can find in any store, like oatmeal. Even if it's like instant oatmeal, you can usually find that. You can find eggs at like a gas station, whatever. And so that just doesn't change and I don't have to think about what I'm going to eat.
Nice. I love that. And then what does your hydration look like for these? Are you adjusting that based off of the race duration, how much you take in per hour, or again, is that more kind of based off of feel as well?
I do try to do like every half hour. So if I'm doing 60 grams of carbs an hour, I try to split it up into, I'm eating every like 30 minutes. Or I'm eating every 30 minutes and then I try to calculate how many carbs I'll have in my flask, which is going to add the other steady drip. So I'm always getting a steady drip of carbs in my flask. And then depending on when I'll get to fill up again at an aid station, I can like kind of see how many carbs I'm going to eat for that duration of time. And then I try to, that's how I total it up. I'll get this much during this period of time with this flask carb drink. And then I'm also eating a gel or a waffle or something. And then that's how I try to calculate it. But when you're out there, like I'm not, sometimes it just goes out the window and you're like, I'm just going to eat whatever I can,
Yeah. Yeah. The flaming hot Cheetos. Yeah. Whatever goes down.
Whatever goes down.
That's great. And let's see. So we talked about hydration. Have you done any, out of curiosity, testing with different amounts of sodium too for you that you found works well? Or
I've not done anything with the sodium side. So this is actually something I want to do. There's a place here that does sweat tests close to me. And that's the next thing I want to do is actually figure out how much I'm sweating. I generally sweat a lot in the beginning, but then I don't know, usually my body will just stop sweating at some point, or like it gets used to it or something happens. I feel like I do better with heat than most people or than the average person. Yeah. So I've never had really an issue with sweating too much or, my bigger problem, I feel like I'd be more worried about maybe just not getting enough carbs, just bonking. Yeah. But I usually have a pretty good idea of how much I'm taking in, like in water, or if something starts to feel weird, I try to just listen to my body. And I'm like, if water doesn't taste good, it's probably because I need more electrolytes or something else. And then I go for that. So I don't have a scientific method when it comes to the sodium intake and stuff, even though I probably should. For the longer ones, I think it would be much more helpful. 50Ks, you can just suffer through it really. But once you start getting longer and the terrain starts getting hotter or more difficult, then I think it's probably helpful. Yeah. Goodness. And let's see. So we talked a little bit about sodium, maybe some sweat testing for you in your near future. What about in the days leading up to your race? Are you making any adjustments to your meals or your diet? Are you doing any intentional carb loading? And if so, what does that look like? Yeah, so I pretty much just eat whatever I want in the 3 days before a race. I'm a huge fan of ice cream. And so I always try to get those glycogen stores up. And it gives me an excuse to eat pints of ice cream for dinner. I've honestly, I used to have a habit of eating 2 pints a day, or at once. Nice. Just while I'm watching TV or something. Yeah. And that's what I love about, ultra running is you can totally do that. And you kind of need that before a race. You want to make sure that your, glycogen stores are full, that you're properly carb loading. So I just do a mixture of complex and simple carbs 3 days leading up to it. And nice. Pasta, rice. I love sushi, tacos, Mexican food, whatever. And then lots of sugar, ice cream. Yeah. Cookies. Nice. Yeah. Diving in. That's the thing I tell my clients. I'm like, this is the time where you can actually go against the standards of the quote unquote American diet, dive all into the plain white carbs as much as you want. Right. Have you had any experiences where you kind of had issues and you needed to troubleshoot it during a race? Yes. I feel like for the longer races, definitely 50Ks it's pretty much my body will handle anything for that distance, nice. Or at least depending on the race, right? If it's within 6 hours of running or something, I could do gel the whole time, gels and a couple chews and a carb drink can be okay. But for longer races, 50 milers and up, there's an inevitable period of nausea or something. And so for those ones, it usually involves trying something new in my pack that maybe was a backup. Whether it's switching to a salty something, or even switching to real food. A lot of times I sample aid station food, and I try to do that even earlier now, where a piece of potato to go with a gel, or just go and dipped in salt. Not eat a ton, but just consistently throughout. Yeah. to try to give my stomach something real to hold on to.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like I said, I've had races like where my stomach just is not working with me. Nothing tastes good. So then I just back off. I lower the effort. I might go slower. I keep moving, but I go slower. And then maybe I don't take anything for like 5 miles.
Yeah.
Just to get like a reset.
Yeah.
And then I start taking things slowly again.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's super helpful for listeners too, because a lot of times they'll start to get that and some of them will withdraw too if they start to feel like that. But I think, if you slow down the pace, as long as you're not vomiting everything out and it's like nonstop, right? But you can kind of slow things down, get core temperature down. On that core temperature note, do you do any heat training like sauna or active or passive heat exposure? You're just naturally good at the heat.
I think also because when I was living abroad, I spent like, I think at least 3.5 of those 4 years of those 5 years at the equator.
Oh, wow.
And so when I came back to Portland, I was freezing. It was horrible. Even at night, like in the summer, I'd be like, oh, this is nice and warm. And then like the nighttime would come, I'm like, I need a sweater. Like I need to have a sweater. But I think I maintained a little bit of that, even though a lot of that has gone away. But for Western states, I started heat training on purpose. And so I would do saunas after runs. I would run in the middle of the day while it's hot, if it's, and just make sure that I'm used to that. I didn't overdo it. My coach was saying it's probably better to go in a little under heat trained and just work on a really good cooling strategy than to overheat train and actually be physically tired for the race. Like it's another stressor you're putting on your body.
Yeah. I think that's really important for listeners. The passive or active heat exposure is it's such another layer of stress, and some athletes respond fine and others it's like, whoa, that is way too much and have to make adjustments. So talking about cooling, what are some cooling techniques you use to help control core temperature?
I basically, for Western states, it's a really hot race. I had an ice bandana all the time. And every time I left an aid station, I just was sprayed down with ice water. I just was continuously wet. Every time I went through the stream, I dipped a hat in and put it, like I would dip my hat. I would actually wash my arms. Like my extremities, you lose a lot of heat from your extremities. And so I would always make sure to douse my arms, and then sometimes ice in your sleeves. And if you have an empty flask, I was usually carrying 3 flasks on me at all times. And one of them was just for water to like pour on myself.
Yeah, that's great. That's very smart. I think the cooling piece is so important. There's just such a noticeable difference too when you can get your core temperature down. It's like you're just so many things improve when you can manage that aspect. So from a kind of through the race to a recovery lens, after you finish something like Western states, what is the appetite like when you cross that finish line? Are you able to take in food? Is it like, I don't want anything for the next 24 hours? What does that look like for you?
So usually after I cross the race, I'm starving. I can't eat a ton sometimes, but I definitely want to eat. I will have some food, and then maybe my stomach's like, oh, but it's really hard to eat right now. And so I just I'll eat as much, like whatever I can, and keep nibbling throughout the day until my appetite properly comes back. And that's like, if it's like I didn't really have too many issues. And then after those longer races, I'm usually starving. I remember after my first 100K, it's like Gorge Waterfalls. I was just hungry for days. I would wake up with hunger pangs in the middle of the night. Like really painful ones. And so I had to have snacks on hand at all times I think my body was just so like, I don't know what that was. We are starving. We were literally starving. So I had to eat every couple hours to keep the hunger pangs away. Western states was a little different because I ended up having like first third of the race went really well. The rest of it was like the second third was kind of like okay, and then things started going south. And then the last part of it was really, really rough, where I couldn't take in any calories, like nothing at all, even backing off of them, and no water, like absolutely nothing. And I would still try to force myself to get things down. But after the race, I wasn't really recovering. So I did finally eat something after the race. When I stopped moving, I was less nauseous. So I just wasn't recovering. And I ended up finding out because I went to the doctor. I'm like, this isn't a normal recovery for me.
Oh,
Everything
yeah.
I ate went straight through me, and I was having to use the bathroom with urgency more than I ever had in any race previously. Like I've never had that type of, And so afterwards, when I went to the doctor, they found out, they said I had a rotavirus.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So we were thinking that maybe it started kicking in during the race.
Yeah.
Because towards the end, after mile 65, I could barely eat, barely drink, was so out of energy.
Yeah.
Needing the porta potty.
Yeah.
Like,
You poor thing.
it was rough. And
Yeah.
so everything I ate afterwards was like, I wasn't getting any calories from it.
Yeah.
But I was still hungry. That was the worst part, is I would go through extreme periods of nausea, but then hunger because I'm not eating anything and trying to balance that. So Western States was a little bit of an anomaly where it was not the typical recovery experience.
Yeah. Wow.
But after races, I usually am just trying to take in probiotics, like some fiber, just really healthy things and lots of protein to help me recover.
Yeah. Do you find you crave anything in particular, like in the days following the race?
I think I crave protein a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely healthy food. It's like you're just stuffing your body with all of this sugar and stuff that it's fuel, but it's not exactly like great for your body. And so I find myself just craving really healthy food. It's all I want to eat. That and like red meat.
Yeah.
I think it's like an iron thing. I'm just like, I just really need like a steak and I'm not a really huge red meat eater in normal occasions, but I really feel sometimes that like, I just really need this. I'm craving this. And so then I will indulge.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I mean, there's probably so much muscle tissue breakdown. And then that is a very common thing we hear. And I have different theories about it, right? I mean, yes, we consume so much carbohydrates and high sugar stuff, and then your brain and palate is just so over that. But I also think there's so much oxidative stress that happens during the race that we just want these I hear a lot of people say that they just want a giant salad, and it's like, yeah, that's so antioxidant rich to help with all the oxidative stress. I can understand why our bodies are wanting these things so bad, because we need it, and your body's telling you the right thing.
The healthy food, that's it. I'm like, I just need vegetables. I need this. I need some steak. I need just, so even though red meat isn't always healthy all the time, it's you're trying to, like you said, put everything back in your body that you used.
Yeah. Have you ever had any issues with iron levels, out of curiosity?
Yes. So I think I was kind of on the verge of being my ferritin has been low in the past.
Yeah.
And then after Western States, when I was like, hey, this isn't normal. It's Wednesday, and like I can walk just fine, and I don't feel super sore, but like cannot stomach anything. So they had me do a blood panel that looked at that, and so my ferritin and my my blood iron was super low. And so I ended up having to I was supposed to take iron supplements, but I never ended up buying them. I just was eating a lot of red meat for a couple months to like get them back up naturally. Not against supplements. I just was I got a little overwhelmed by doing all the research for the ones that I need, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, this type of iron, that type of iron, and then I just never ended up buying any.
Yeah.
So yes, I have. And then when I was overtraining, I would say that there was a period where I dropped a lot of weight and, like lost my period for 3 months, which is not normal for me.
Yeah.
And I was getting really tired, and my normal runs were like feeling extra hard. And so that was when I was like, okay, I think my ferritin levels were a bit low.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good you checked on those, and the rotavirus stuff, that's brutal. That is brutal. You if you can't take anything in, and then you're just your poor body's like trying to recover, and that's rough. That's rough. How do they treat something like that? Do they do antibiotics, or can they or antiviral?
It's actually more common in children. So like little kids get it, and like it's not usually life-threatening or anything like that. So they basically were just like, eat some probiotics and avoid sugary foods. I'm like, okay, that sounds fine.
Yeah.
And I did that, and then like by Thursday, like finished the race early Sunday morning, and then by Thursday I started to finally feel normal again. So it did end up running its course, but
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting how during the race, there was a period like after like 70 miles in, 80 miles in, 90 miles in, I would try to take little bites of like potatoes, some rice, and I really
Mm-hmm.
couldn't. It was really hard.
Mm-hmm.
But then people would offer me something sugary, and I'm like, absolutely not.
Oh
Like,
gosh. Yeah.
no, my brain was just like, no.
Yeah.
In the past, Coca-Cola has been a lifesaver. Like it just tastes so good. It's bubbly.
Mm.
Like those things can help settle your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so opposed to it. Like the thought of eating
Yeah.
sugar. And I think it was my brain trying to tell me like, oh, maybe that's not, you don't need that right now, or there's something
Yeah.
else going on. And then to have a doctor
Yeah.
tell me like, avoid sugary foods. You have this rotavirus. So
Yeah.
take some probiotics.
Yeah.
I thought that was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Came full circle. It answered your brain's questions. That is wild. You poor thing. That sounds awful for how you finished Western States, and you ended up finishing, which is like amazing. That's
It was a little rough. I'm really glad to have a reason, because I really was like, I'm never doing 100-miler again. I think that it's just not in my wheelhouse. I don't know what I went
oh
wrong. Like I was cooling
yeah.
really well all
Mm-hmm.
day, so I didn't understand it, but it
Yeah.
was nice to have like a reason.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, okay, so now you're kind of post race. What is coming up on the calendar for you now down the pipeline? Any other races on the calendar?
Yeah, so I just signed up for Rogue River 50-miler.
Nice.
It's really unfortunate. I was actually on the wait list for I'm Tough, and then I was able to like, I would have gotten in,
Mm,
which I had signed up for the wait list in the spring. And it was a race I was very excited to do. But after Western States, I was like, man, I haven't been running at all. I don't even
mm,
want to. The motivation just
yeah.
wasn't there to train hard for anything. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to pass on that.
Mm,
And then a bit later, I saw that I looked at like ultra sign up. I'm like, what's between this time and this time?
yeah.
And I saw Rogue River. So I was like,
Nice.
okay, I can do that. And it's only got like 5,000 feet of gain, I think, if that,
Okay. Yeah.
net downhill race. I'm like, perfect.
Nice. Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. And then let's see, kind of for our listeners or new runners, do you have any advice for new runners on dialing in their hydration or fueling strategies based off of your experience?
I honestly, I still feel like I'm figuring it out, because I just started running ultras in 2023.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say figure out what type of sweater you are, because I
Mm.
have friends, even if you don't do a sweat test, like
Mm-hmm.
I've had friends who are really, really big sweaters and deal with cramping a lot.
Mm.
And that always ends up being a problem during a race.
Yeah.
And so they need even more electrolytes and like the sodium tabs. So figure out like what type of sweater you are. And then you might need to carry more than you think when it comes to that, because I think everybody is different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that I think has been a game changer for some of my friends who are like, when they're done running, or like they're just, it's like white. So you've seen like the salt on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So figuring out like, if you're a really big sweater and you're cramping a lot, like you may need to up the sodium intake and the electrolytes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's awesome advice. And the sweat testing science too is evolving. I mean, so much. We still have quite a ways to go, but we've learned a lot even in the last year on sweat science. So it's going in a cool direction. But yeah, it is very unique, essentially, is the point, right? And finding out what you're losing is important to help manage that. Okay, so we know it's coming down the pipeline for you next. Are you going to be doing anything differently nutritionally during the race compared to Western states for the Rogue 50?
I'm going to try not to get a virus. I don't know
Yeah.
how to avoid that, but yeah, I want to dial in my nutrition more.
Mm-hmm.
So it was still a little bit of trial and error, because I think what I will do is, I was training with what I was using, but I
Mm-hmm.
was training with what I was using so much that I kind of ended up getting palate fatigue
Oh,
early on
yeah. Yeah.
as well. Okay, I've been training for this for 6 months, and now I don't even want to eat it during my race.
Mm.
So maybe I will back off of that a bit, use more variety in my actual training.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I can, still enjoy those things that I'm going to be using during the race for a bit longer.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I would do differently and
Yeah.
moving forward.
Nice. Okay, so for our listeners, jumping to our two truths and a lie, you had said that you ran your first ultra before your first marathon, that you got second in your first ultra, and that you have two dogs. Do you want to tell the listeners which one was the lie?
So I have one dog, technically, but I am fostering a dog. So if you like Belgian Malinois and you are familiar and looking for a dog, I've got a great one.
Yeah.
I'm like, we have a spare. He's lovely.
Reach
But
out
I
to
do have,
Cindy.
right. I do have only one dog. And so the other two were truths.
Awesome. And so what was the first ultra or the first ultra you did before? Was that the 50K you were mentioning? Yeah.
Stumptown 50K, the beet juice
Yeah.
one. That was the
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Nice. So you went straight into a 50K before your first marathon. And was your marathon a road marathon or
It
trail?
was my first marathon was a road marathon,
Okay.
which I had very little desire to train for actually
Yeah.
before I did an ultra.
Yeah.
And I still don't like them. I've done two and I still
Yeah.
can't figure them out.
Yeah. The road is just a different beast mentally and on your body, I feel
It's so
like.
much, I think it's just kind of taxing, like it's boring. I'm like, I can't really
Yeah.
focus for that long. And I feel like marathons are too, like road marathons are really focused. Like you just need to
Yeah.
like be in the zone. Where trails, it's like, oh, this hill's kind of hard. I can walk it. Oh, this downhill is kind of fun. I'll run faster.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Yeah.
variation that roads don't really provide for me. And so
Yeah.
I always have a hard time keeping a consistent pace.
Yeah. And just I feel like it's just so peaceful, like to some degree peaceful when you're out in nature. And like you said, like you get to see all these really cool things and you carried your body there on 2 feet, which I think is so rad.
And I think this might be like, maybe it's just me. And I feel badly to say this a little bit because I'm always so thankful. It's fun to see all the signs and the support out there for road
Mm.
marathons. But sometimes I'm like, I just don't want people shouting at me the whole time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Ringing bells in your face. Yeah.
It's like I'm like overstimulated. And
Yeah.
so I think trails are amazing because you're by yourself. You can be with the
Yeah.
runner. Sometimes you have someone to talk to. Sometimes you're alone. And then when you come into an aid station and you get that support, it's like you're
Yeah.
really needing it. And then it really boosts you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're excited to see those people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You get
So,
those moments of like peace to like process and then go
right.
through the busyness. That makes a lot of sense. I think that's a good one. Okay. So where can our listeners find you, follow you, reach out about the Malinois?
Yeah. So, I literally, my Instagram name is Black Cindy Runs. Very simple.
Perfect. And we will link it.
um, yeah. And so feel free to ask me anything, or if you are interested in adopting a dog, I am working with the Woof Project.
Okay.
It's a Malinois rescue. They do help some other dogs as well,
Nice.
to foster this guy and find him the best home because,
Oh.
even ultra runners, like they would probably be a good home for this dog. But my one
Yeah.
bedroom apartment with these two dogs, I'm like, okay, I may not be getting my deposit back.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, we will link that in the show notes for listeners. Hopefully we can get that. What's the dog's name? The Malinois.
We are calling him Monty because we found him
Monty.
on Montgomery Avenue.
All right. Well, hopefully we can get Monty adopted. And yeah, you guys reach out to Cindy and reach out about Monty. And thank you again so much for joining us, Cindy. This has been awesome.
Okay, thank you so much for having me.